Welcome guys! I'm very hyped today because I want to introduce you to a new add-on I developed for Blender, and this add-on allows you to create your own custom boards, so be it for a game you already own or for a game you want to create out of your imagination. This add-on is very quick and easy, and it doesn't require much knowledge of Blender. Anyway, I have some videos on how to install and discover Blender if you want to start by doing so. Otherwise, if you're already familiar with Blender, well, let me start by a quick demo and then we'll jump straight into the tutorial. So stay tuned and let's go!
Lost, what felt like it all in a game. Every man I've measured out to hurt me before I could ever feel safe. Great for our union, would you die to and be abusing? Unsure intentions, are you using? Bit confusing, what are you choosing? Saw me as a queen, but wary of the greed. Would I be what you need? Would it lead to more defeat? Would I just be a notch on your brilliant means? And I saw love in your eyes, felt the power in between my thighs. A stallion, a dark knight, never lie. Would ride for you or die. 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 Would ride for you. Why some days like may they be free? Why some fight with rage? May they be peace? In the night I pray we will redeem. In the light of day will you join me? Why some die slay? May they be free? Why some fight with rage? May they be peace? In the night I pray we will redeem. In the light of day will you join me? Praying for your seed it planted and I agreed. May all be healed and freed of all the wrongs, of all the bleed. And in the songs we sing of need to break the chains, both physical and mental games. Ridicule and supernatural pain, psychic empath, ruminating rain, road and despite attacked in every light. Queen of day with lord of night, I would pray to gain the sight, knowing that the eggs would carry fright. Detach from past, start again on path. I would lead without the wrath, with the fire I unmask. All the darkness that sets back, falling watches on my track. Men must die, well we are that.
Now that you've seen how this add-on works, I'm going to explain step by step how to install it and how to use it. So the first step is to go into File, User Preferences, and in the Add-ons tab, type in Paper, tick the box Import, Export, Export Paper Model. This will install the Export Paper Model add-on, and go into Install Add-on from File. Okay, and select the folder where you saved the add-on I provide in the description of this video. Select the add-on file and click Install Add-on from File. And once you've done both these steps, click Save User Settings. Alright. So to access the add-on now and to start creating your board, open the Tools panel by clicking here on the plus sign at the top left of your screen, or by pressing the T key on your keyboard. And you have there many tabs. Select the CBG Board tab. Give it a little bit more space, and now you can start creating your board. So you can select the number of columns your board will have. First, maybe select the cell size, so in my case 22 millimeters for Hero Quest. Select the number of columns. We're just going to create a room for this exercise, and select the number of lines you want. And when you're done, click Create. And here is your board. to see the result of this board, create a new window, for instance, by clicking on the top right of any window and dragging it below the other one. And now select 3D view, hover your mouse over the menu and scroll down until you find this white globe. It's the render mode. It's set to solid, and set it to rendered. And now you have a render view of your board. So you probably don't see much. That's because we need to set an environment for the render engine. So for that, go into the Properties window, click on the World tab, this icon, go to the Surface section and select in the drop-down Background. Alright, and now you have a white background for your render engine. If you change the color, you will have a green background, and the green background will have an influence on the surface of your board. And if you want something really more interesting, you could go to the internet to hdrihaven.com, and they have a great collection of free HDRIs to use in Blender. So you just have to click on one, select the size of the HDRI you want, 2K is more than enough, click on one and save it on your hard drive. Then when you go back to Blender, instead of color right here, if you click on the little dot, you can choose environment texture, all right, and open new fields appear, select open and go find the HDRI you just downloaded and click open image. And as you can see now, there is an environment in the render engine. All right. So now the first step being done, we are going to add materials to each and every cell on our board. So for that, go into the next step. And as you can see, if I click here, no preview is showing up. So I'm going to select the folder where I saved all the materials and decals or stickers I want to use for this project. So they should show up like this. So now if I go into top view, deselect everything and select all the cells for my board, I can add this texture as a material. And here it is. Once I have applied the texture, I can change the scale by clicking here at the bottom left of the screen until I reach the scale I want. Okay. So, of course, you need to download materials to use on your project. So let me show you how it's done. Open your browser and go to a site where you can download textures. I have a few, like textures.com. It only requires you to sign up. And when it's done, you'll be able to download 15 textures per day, freely. So you should look for PBR materials, those are the keywords, or 3D scanned materials. And now you have materials you can use in Blender. So let me select one, for instance, to show you how it's done. I'm going to select this one I just downloaded. All right. And now, as you can see, there are 5 images that makes this material. There is the diffuse map here called Albedo 2. So you can download it, save it on your hard drive, give it a name. I gave it the marble1.tif name and save it. Next, you need to download the normal image. So again, just make sure you select the same size every time. So I use the medium size. So I'm going to download the normal. And before I do, I'm going to give it the same name I gave the previous one, but I'm just going to add normal underscore before the name. Okay, so I can just save marble1. Okay. I'm going to download the roughness map as well. Same thing. I'm going to call it roughness and save it. And the ambient occlusion map, and I'm going to name it AO marble1 and save it. Just make sure you type in exactly the words I gave you. Okay, normal, roughness, and AO. And it doesn't matter what name you give to the diffuse as long as it is consistent with the other maps. All right, so you can download textures from textures.com, from cc0textures.com, from freepbr.com, from polygon.com. They have some nice free textures. And you have also textures from Greg Zal at texturehaven.com. As you can see. Sometimes you will download a zip file containing all the images for your material, extract this zip file and rename each and every file the way I explained before. Save all these materials in the same folder, and also you can download decals. If you go to textures.com, for instance, you have a set of decals like stains, and you can download any of those stains to use as decals for your materials. These are just PNG files, so I guess a Google image search for PNGs could provide the same images. Just make sure when you have a preview of the image that you have a little checkerboard below your image, and that indicates that everything on the checkerboard will be transparent. All right. So now that you have your folder, you just have to look for it on your hard drive and click accept, and you will have a preview of all the elements you saved on your hard drive for this project. Now you can apply materials or stickers. Materials are basically the PBR material you apply to the whole surface. And stickers, if I click on this cell for instance, are just applied on top of the material. When you apply a sticker, all right, you will see an empty 3-axis appear on top of your cell. And you can immediately resize this empty to resize the sticker on your material. So all the basic Blender operations will have an impact, all right? As you can see in this 3D view right now, I am just tweaking the way this decal appears on the cell. I can re-click the cell and add as many decals as I want. I just added some pebbles. Okay. And I will add a stain. Make it bigger. Okay. It's just to show you the principle. Now, this board is supposed to be a room. So the next step is going to add some lights and shadows. To add shadows, you just select the room you want to add shadows around. And here it is. So you can tweak the height of the walls, because as you can see, it created shadows but left some light go through. If we look at it here, in transparency, you can see the walls it created. So I can immediately tweak the height of these walls to increase or decrease the shadows. Okay, so 100 was nice. All right, but now I have shadows and everything is a little bit too dark, so I'm going to add a light. I'm going to select this cell, for instance, and add, let's say, a torchlight. So it should have this color, and I'm going to add the light. So maybe it's a little bit too powerful, so I'm going to divide it in half. Okay, so, and increase its height, let's say 60 millimeters above the ground. Okay, I'm going to add another one at the same location, okay, but with a dimmer color. Add a light. All right, make it half the distance, 30, okay, and half the strength. And I'm going to add another one closer to white. Okay, add a light. This time make it very close to the ground and divide its strength again by 2. And what I'm trying to create is what is called a corona effect. Okay, so now that I have all my lights, I can select them. All right, and drag them closer to the wall to give the impression that there is a torch above the ground right here. So I can Shift D, copy all those lights and put them somewhere else to add a new torch light. Okay. And when I'm ready, when everything is done, I can print everything by selecting my board or just clicking. I can either assemble the selection. I usually use this option when the board is bigger than my page, okay, but it's not the case, so I can just click assemble all cells. And what it does is create a duplicate on layer 2. These here are the layers, okay. And now I'm going to tell Blender to create an image with all the operations I made. So I click Bake Textures and wait until Blender is finished. So this may take a while, usually between 30 seconds to 1 minute, but it depends on your hardware, of course. And we are done. So I organized all those steps in order, okay? So for step 3, now that step 2 is done and we have an image, let me show you what I mean. If I click UV Image Editor, I now have an image of what I just created in Blender, with all my stickers, my lights, and the reflections on the marble. So I have to apply this image to the duplicate on layer 2. So I select the duplicate and click Apply to Duplicate. Everything will turn black. It's perfectly normal. And you will notice that the render engine changed from Cycles Render to Blender Render. That's because the Export Paper Model add-on uses the Blender Render engine. So the next step is going to export this image on the duplicate. So click Export and then just tweak the settings right here at the bottom left of your screen. So we want to export as PDF on an A4 piece of paper. We don't need tabs and we don't need numbers. And we are going to select for textures from materials. I'm going to turn the resolution to 300 dpi, which is the common professional print quality. Okay, and when everything is done, all I have to do is select a folder on my hard drive. Here we are. Type in a name. Okay. And click Export Paper Model. Wait a while and let me show you the result. Here is our little room ready to print and cut. And maybe glue on a piece of cardboard. All right? Please like this video if you liked it. If you have any problem, please let me know in the comment section below, and subscribe if you want to be notified when a new video comes online. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.